what got in Conor's head, he kept on saying, I'm going to take his head off, I'm going to take his head off. If he'd have said, like, you know what, yeah, I'm going to box him. He didn't. He went in there thinking, I'm going to take his head off. And that reminded me the same when he fought the French guy, Paynard. Just want to go in and take his head off. Winging the punches in, I thought, oh my gosh, he's not going to win this. But I didn't come away like, you know, upset. I just cuddled my son. Didn't say a word. Didn't say a word. And the funny thing about it, the next day we went in the sauna because Conor's been giving me grief. He said, mate, if you took care of business, I wouldn't have to do this. So then we got in the shower. I've got to tell you this joke. We got in the shower and I left the door open. And he started
sauna, Dad.
The sauna. He said, and he said, mate, what are you leaving the door open for? And he was really moaning at me. I said, shut up, you loser. But we both burst out laughing because at the end of the day, we know that this.
It was a little bit too soon, Dad. It was like the day after the fire.
Yeah, I know, but you give it to me though, didn't you? You said if I'd done the job, you wouldn't have to do it. And you lost. Now you got to go and put the record straight, mate.
Thanks for the reminder.
Yeah, don't worry, mate. I'm going to keep reading that.
Past because of what happened, but I'm just letting you know if your hand ever touches me again, you won't get it back.
Shut your fucking shit.
You feel so strongly about something, and it is your life. You're not going to have some fucker just make up bullshit, particularly when you're talking about stopping an ambulance. You know, that is an accusation that could cost someone their life. And if you think that we are the kind of people, and I'm, you know, the kind of individual, we are the kind of company that would stop an ambulance from getting a fighter to the hospital, then you are some kind of plum. And it's not just a case of, oh, don't worry about it, you know, it's only a...
Eddie Hearn tried to sound strategic, advising Ben to fight with more control, but that's easier said than done when you're standing across from Chris Eubank. Jr. telling Ben not to rush in recklessly is really an admission that his style is raw and undisciplined, exactly. The kind of approach Eubank excels at exploiting. He studies aggressive opponents, waits for their mistakes, and makes them pay. Ben's grit and intensity are unquestionable, but against a fighter who thrives on breaking down wild pressure, that simply isn't enough. Hearn can talk about being smarter all day long, but time and again Ben has slipped back into chaos once the heat is on. And against Eubank, that's a recipe for disaster. Calm, precise, and calculated, Eubank holds every advantage heading into another clash.
But, you know, I'm gonna tell you right here and now, you ain't no champ. And you most definitely ain't no people's champ, so get that out of your head. You keep letting Eddie Hearn blow smoke up your ass and you're gonna end up being even more of an embarrassment than he is. These men are not men of the people. They are pretending. They're pretending to be the good guys. Wolves in sheep's clothing, if you will. They will do anything they can.
Chris Eubank Jr. fired back at Nigel Benn during a live segment, dismissing the people's champion image often attached to him. He openly challenged Eddie Hearn's promotional tactics, describing them as illusions, and portrayed Ben as undeserving of the hype. Eubank's remarks weren't just casual talk, they came across as a sharp, confident dismantling of Ben's reputation.
They know what he is. I have no reason to lie. I won the fight. I don't need to be here. I don't need to make excuses. He talks about playing the victim. What? I won the fight. I'm not the victim. I'm the victor. I was victorious. So I have no reason to lie about anything. I'm telling my truth. I'm exposing what these people want to keep hidden in the dark. And I will continue to do so.
Eubank Jr. didn't stop there. He went straight at Nigel Benn's justifications, dismantling his storyline point by point. He dismissed the victim angle with commanding certainty, making it clear that he's already proven himself where it matters most, inside the ring. For Eubank, this wasn't about spinning excuses. It was about laying down an uncompromising version of events, delivered with the trademark conviction that only he brings.
I'd say there's been a lot of respect anyway. Personally, I don't like him. You know, he thought I was going to be an easy touch, which is why he fought a welterweight. So is there much respect there? Not really, but you know, ultimately, you know, I'm ready to honour my side of the agreement, which was the 2-fight deal, and it's safe to say he's scared. You know, he almost lost. Could have gone either way to a welterweight.
Conor Benn speaks out, but his comments come across as defensive. He brings up respect, Yet the tone feels more like excuse-making, even suggesting Eubank is afraid, a claim that hardly holds weight. Benn appears to be hanging on to a storyline, while Eubank has already demonstrated in the ring who operates on the higher level.
This guy has zero respect for anything. And I hope people can see through it. Some will, some won't. But if you can't see them, that's a lot of what happened up there was just wrong. So listen, we go to work and we're in to win the fight. It's going to be different this time.
Eddie Hearn stepped in, eager to shield Benn's reputation. He attempted to flip the narrative by portraying Eubank as the one lacking respect, but it sounded like the same recycled defense fans have heard many times. The claim that things will somehow be different this time doesn't carry much credibility. Eubank's calm dominance has already unraveled Benn before, and the same outcome looms once the pressure returns.
You know you've had 2 warnings.
Yeah.
You need to be careful, don't you?
You do.
Treading a fine line.
You do, but it's not the head then that comes in. So he's on one final warning for the head, but getting into an exchange in the final punch of the round, he's trying to win the round.
Yeah, impress the judges at the end of the round.
Tony Bellew hit the nail on the head, making it clear that a rematch isn't decided by conditioning or miles on the road. It's about mindset, experience, and composure under fire. And in those areas, Chris Eubank Jr. already holds the edge over Conor Benn. Eubank has stood under the spotlight, battled through tough nights, and proven his ability to stay sharp when it matters most. Benn, by comparison, is still developing. Bellew's point is simple. No amount of running prepares you for the mental test of 12 hard rounds against someone like Eubank. The first fight already revealed Benn's cracks under pressure, while Eubank stayed measured and in control. That's why Bellew's words cut deep. They highlight a truth Benn can't run from. This isn't a stamina question, it's about fight intelligence. And Eubank operates on a higher level.
I do see improvement there for Conor, and I do think the results will be different the other way around in the next fight. I think it'll go the distance all over again.
Johnny Nelson offered his perspective, leaning in favor of Benn. But labeling Eubank Jr. as rigid or immobile feels more like reaching than real analysis. Yes, Benn may have shown signs of progress, but it doesn't erase the fact that Eubank boxed with intelligence, set the tempo, and never once looked close to unraveling. The idea that the outcome will somehow flip is more hope than logic. Boxing isn't won on flashy footwork. It's about discipline, control, and forcing the opponent into your rhythm. That's exactly what Eubank achieved. Benn lasting the distance doesn't change the reality. He was outclassed. Nelson can hype Benn's growth all he wants, but those gains tend to collapse under genuine pressure. Once Eubank turns up the pace, Benn has no real answers, and deep down, the fans recognize it. Nelson's comments might grab attention, but they don't alter the underlying truth. Eubank is still the better fighter.
However, the intrigue that surrounds this fight, I've got young kids in my gym that are going to be tuning into this.
3 generations are going to watch it, aren't they? That's what's great.
I mean, they're so excited about it.
Adam, the rehydration clause, one of the things that I failed to ask Eddie Hearn on Thursday at the press conference was...
Carl Froch offered a straight-shooting perspective on what this matchup truly represents. He made it clear, it's not just about the sport, it's about the fighters themselves. For Conor Benn, the fight carries desperation, a chance to erase the sting of defeat and restore his reputation. For Chris Eubank Jr., it's about legacy. A second victory over Benn would quiet the critics and solidify his dominance in the rivalry. Froch also acknowledged the money factor. Boxing has always revolved around big paydays, but emphasized that for Eubank, pride and control of the narrative are just as important. Froch, having lived through his own rivalries, understands the weight of settling scores. His words underline the magnitude of this rematch. And the reality is, Eubank steps in with the edge. He's already proven it once, and walked away the winner.
Conor Benn's Conor Benn. But I want him just to be a little bit smarter. We can't, like Nigel said, he's just winging away. And the heart's great, the balls are great, but you can outbox this guy as well. You're going to have to stand and fight, because he's going to try and walk you down and be the bigger man. But just be a little bit smart with it as well.
Duke McKenzie highlighted one of the most compelling aspects of this rivalry, the way it spans generations. From fans who remember the legendary clashes of the past to younger audiences discovering the story today, all eyes are on Eubank Jr. and Benn. That's what gives this matchup its unique pull. But while Benn's camp leans on nostalgia, Eubank Jr. stands firmly in the present. He isn't defined by his father's name or echoes of history. His reputation comes from his own achievements. For young fighters in the gym and supporters watching at home, he represents the athlete who built his career through hard battles and earned respect in the ring. Mackenzie is right about the buzz surrounding the fight, but hype alone doesn't decide outcomes. Once the bell sounds, it won't be about eras or legacy. It will come down to one fact. Chris Eubank Jr. continues to operate on a higher level than Conor Benn. Barry Jones summed it up perfectly. This rematch only stands to take more out of Conor Benn. The first meeting was already a draining contest, and another go-round promises to be just as punishing. Jones pointed out that unless something completely unexpected happens, like a shock early knockout, Eubank Jr. remains the clear favorite. It's a reality most boxing fans already accept. Eubank's advantages aren't just physical, he's mentally sharper and far more seasoned. Fights at this level don't only test fitness. They wear down a fighter's resolve. Benn can talk with confidence, but coming through one grueling battle doesn't mean you'll conquer the next. Jones is right to underline that point. When a fighter like Eubank already knows how to dismantle you, repeating the win often comes easier. Benn's team can talk up their chances, but the truth is simple. Eubank is still the man to beat, and Barry sees it clearly.
Fight can only harm him, because that was a hard fight, the first one. This one will be another hard fight, whoever wins, unless there's a real freak occurrence, not freak occurrence, unless someone gets caught with a shot really early, then it's going to be a hard night, which you still have to make Eubank the favourite again, like I did the first time. I mean,
Jack Catterall gave Benn some praise, even suggesting he could get the win. But let's put that into perspective. Saying Benn has the ability to stop Eubank Jr. sounds complimentary, but ability and actually pulling it off are two different things. In their first meeting, Benn had flashes of success, but he never truly looked close to finishing the job. Eubank controlled the tempo, handled the pressure, and left with the victory. Catterall was right that it was an incredible fight, but there's a distinction between delivering excitement and proving you're the superior fighter. That edge comes from composure, and that's where Benn still lags behind. Eubank's durability, fitness, and tactical intelligence are all established, while Benn remains untested at the very top level. Fans might enjoy imagining Benn pulling off the upset, but in the ring, imagination doesn't win. Discipline and resilience do. Which is why Catterall's prediction feels more like optimism than reality.
For me, it's a fight that probably means a lot less for boxing than what it does for the actual fighters. You know, the fighters, for them, there's a lot at stake. Conor Benn wants to overturn the decision. And Chris Eubank wants to cement the decision, say, I've done it twice. Bottom line is they're making big bunts, aren't they? Big dollar, and they might as well make money. These are prize fighters. We can't begrudge them making money fighting, because that's what they do. That's why they get in the ring.
Boss Tony Bellew captured the raw emotion behind this rivalry, the pain, the drama, and the authenticity that fans can feel. He admitted it's brutal, one of the hardest experiences a fighter can go through, but also reminded everyone that this comes with the territory when a rivalry runs this deep. That's why people are drawn in. It's not just sport, it's personal, it's generational. But here's the truth. When a fight turns gritty and the pain sets in, only one man consistently thrives under that kind of pressure: Chris Eubank Jr. Benn may talk about intensity, and supporters may hype up his aggression. But when things get ugly, who's the one still standing tall? The history already answers that. Eubank has shown his resilience and composure time and again, while Benn has revealed cracks when pushed to the limit. Bellew is right about the reality of this rivalry, but that reality favors Eubank every single time.
you know what, it was an unbelievable fight. I remember watching it, one of the best fights I've seen. I wasn't there live. I'd like to get to this next one, but I think it's going to be another great fight, and I'm going for Conor Benn for the win.
Do you believe he stopped Eubank this time?
Definitely capable of it.
And now it all comes down to the rematch. For Conor Benn, it's a fight of survival, a last shot to rewrite the story and prove he belongs at the highest level. For Chris Eubank Jr., it's about cementing legacy. Another win doesn't just quiet Benn's supporters, it ends the rivalry for good. Everyone knows Benn will come with fire, but fire fades fast when it collides with composure, and that's where the separation lies. Eubank's cold, disciplined approach against Benn's raw emotion. If Benn somehow delivers the upset, it shakes the division and flips the narrative on its head. But if Eubank gets his hand raised again, it confirms what many already believe. There are levels in this game, and Benn isn't on his. So the only question left, who rises when the lights are brightest? Is it Eubank stamping his authority or Benn shocking the world?